Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. Rick is a partner of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has over 20 years experience in the financial industry. And Rick and the team at Safeguard are here to help guide you on your retirement trip, basically. You think about it. You save, you work, and you work, and you work, and then one day you hope you can retire. You don't really know if you can retire, but you think you can. You think you've got enough. Why not talk with the team at Safeguard? They're here to help you figure out where you are on that road to retirement. The big picture blueprint they will create with you: income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare, all those decisions we have to make, they will help guide you. And if you'd like to talk with Rick and the team, 800-700-1980, no cost, totally complimentary, 800-700-1980. Of course, you can always go to the website to learn more, safeguardinvestment.com, safeguardinvestment.com. Rick, are you aware September is Life Insurance Awareness Month? Did you even know that?
You know, that's interesting. No, I didn't know that there was a month called Life Insurance Month or Life Insurance Month. There was a month dedicated to it. Very interesting trivia point you're making here right now.
There are a lot of things that we don't know that just happened behind our backs. They didn't even
That
tell
actually
us.
surprises me.
Yeah. So let me give you some stats, and I want to get your take on this, because at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, it says Investment Advisory Group, right? They can help you in the Wall Street world, the stock market, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, but they can also help you in the insurance side, life insurance, annuities. And we're going to talk about that in this first segment. Let me give you some stats and see if you're on board with this, Rick. There are at least 102 million Americans living with a life insurance coverage gap. 42% of households would face financial hardship within 6 months if a wage earner died unexpectedly. 25% of households would suffer financially within 1 month. Your take?
I think those numbers are pretty accurate. I think on a couple of them, if I was to guess, I thought they'd actually be a little bit higher than what you're quoting. So yeah, I would definitely say that those are fair numbers. And I would say probably more so for people starting out, younger generation, those with families, one wage earner passes away, the surviving spouse could have some serious trouble, especially raising children and kids going to college. What I'm seeing, though, as far as with retirees or retirees that we deal with directly, most of our clients, fortunately, have already won the comfortable retirement. So maybe not so much in their scenario, but I would say younger, starting out in their careers, much more so for sure.
Okay, and I think most of us get it. When we're 30, we've got a new family. We're like, holy cow, something happens to us. We want to make sure that everybody's going to be okay. So we better have a little life insurance to protect them, right? But
Correct.
The stats from the Department of Labor say it's either 63 or 65% of older women actually live in poverty because they didn't have anything to take care of them when their husband passed away. That is surprising to me as well. And it's a lot because when you lose a spouse, you lose the lower of the two Social Securities. You lose maybe some or all of a pension. Plus, hey, the year your spouse died, we're going to let you file your taxes joint as a married couple. But next year, you got to file your taxes as an individual. So now your taxes go up. So there's a lot of whammies here. Life insurance, when you started in this business over 20 years ago, I think it was really about protecting the family. The person who purchased life insurance did it for his family, not for themselves. Today, though, life insurance is much different, I think. You can really help your clients with long-term care, with being able to create some cash flow, borrowing from that life insurance policy, and it just diminishes the death benefit for things you need to get done. Life insurance has way more options available to us today. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, as time has gone on, I think it's gotten more and more sophisticated, or maybe not. Maybe sophisticated isn't the right word to use, but I would say a lot more features. There's so much more available than maybe back in the day. Everything from like you were saying. I mean, there's life insurance policies now that you can kind of really fine tune to what your needs are, as opposed to just being generalized. I mean, let's say, you're looking for a policy, but, you find the need that maybe, you want to add even specific riders like you were talking about. It could be long-term care riders or terminal illness riders, or maybe I need a life insurance policy. I have a large estate and I just want to protect it from estate taxes. So I want something to cover me for that, which would be a second to die policy. Or, I mean, there's just so many different directions and all different policies now that you can really fine tune a product based on a client's specific needs and their specific situation.
So there's a lot of moving parts here when it comes to your retirement. And does life insurance need to be a part of it? Well, heck, we don't know. If it doesn't, Rick's certainly not going to bring it up. It's only if it could make sense for you and your situation when Rick talk about this. But there's some new tools out there. The old tools, they're still the same tools, but they're different. They can do different things. If you have questions about any of this, 800-700-1980. Hey, you know what, Rick, my parents, we got my mom's in long-term care right now. Holy cow, is that expensive? I never even really thought about it till I watched her go through it. So maybe I need some protection. Maybe life insurance is a way to go. Don't know. Rick doesn't know until he actually sits down and talks with you. But if you would like to learn more, call the team at Safeguard. It's 800-700-1980, 800-700-1980. And I think that's one of the big deals is that a lot of us don't know, because even in the market world, stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, all of that, in the insurance world, and life insurance and annuities, they're still the same names, but they can do way more things for us today than they could 20 years ago. Do you buy that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, people should get a little bit more educated on it. Obviously, like you were saying earlier, I mean, it's not right for everybody and not right for every situation. The trouble that I see in the industry nowadays, unfortunately, if you see somebody that sells life insurance and that's all that they offer, then sometimes, I'm not saying always, but sometimes, if you give somebody a hammer, they see everything as a nail. So can it be used for investments? Absolutely. Can it be used to create tax-free income for you when you retire? Absolutely. Can it now be used to offset what you were mentioning earlier in the show, where if one spouse passes away and we lose a Social Security check, we lose part or maybe all of the pension check, hey, we need something there to offset for the surviving spouse so they don't end up destitute. I can give you 100 different examples of where it could fit in. But again, that's where, you would sit down with a professional and make sure that whatever plan is put in place makes sense for your situation. If you have somebody putting you in life insurance to create tax-free income for you in retirement, well, in your particular case, does it make sense? Are you already maxing out your Roth IRAs? Are you already maxing out other things? And does it make sense for you to do that life insurance product? So again, we really have to look at all the parameters before we make those decisions. But certainly, it's definitely a tool that we can't shy away from.
But you bring up a great point, Rick. At the end of the day, at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, you can help people in the market. You can help people in the insurance side. And you don't know which tools make sense for them. Might be a blending of both of those worlds. But if I'm sitting down with an insurance person, nothing against them at all. They do a great job. But their only options are in the insurance world. You sit down with a stockbroker, their only options are in that world. You're there as a retirement planner, which is different than those other two positions. You're there to see how can you help this family be in a better position down the road. Do they need life insurance? Do they need an annuity? Do they need more stocks and bonds? Do they need less volatility? I don't know, and you don't know until you talk to them, right?
Absolutely. And again, it's looking at everything from A to Z. What stage are you at in life? And what would be the purpose of the life insurance? What are we trying to accomplish? What's the goal behind it? Do we just maybe need term insurance? Are we looking for universal insurance, universal life insurance? Do we need whole life? I mean, the variables they seem to be endless in all the different directions that we go. And then again, finding something that's affordable and, is not going to be eating into your budget. Last thing you want to do is, taking food off the table just to cover a life insurance policy. So again, you have to understand the differences, what the goal of the insurance is for, and then design it around that client's specific situation.
Because I think one of the biggest changes, just from listening to you and talk about these kind of things, is that having the ability to have, if it made sense, right, having that life insurance policy that then gave the couple that you were sitting down with the opportunity to pull cash out of there to take care of health issues, or to make sure that the other spouse would be fine if something happened, or, hey, we need a new car, we're going to pull it out of there, because all you're doing really is diminishing your death benefit. For example, you had $1 million death benefit, you needed $200,000 for a short-term illness type situation. You can pull it out of there. The death benefit now is $800,000. You've used $200,000, but it's almost like you're creating your own savings account to a degree. But Rick, you have to set these up the proper way, and they've got to make sense at the end of the day.
Right. Because if they're not set up correctly, for lack of better terminology, they can blow up on you, so it's important that, whoever puts you into the product or whatever advisor you're using is reviewing this product with you each and every year, making sure that it is on track, because obviously there's IRS rules regarding building up cash value in these policies. You can't, have a $20,000 death benefit and put $1 million into the product. It doesn't work that way. So now this is where taxes, and there's something called MECing of the policy, or a modified endowment policy, where, you put too much money in, it could cause taxation, which is the opposite of what you're trying to do when you're trying to create tax-free income later on in life. And the other thing too is that some of these policies are using some of the cash value to offset the premium costs. So maybe if we pull too much cash out, can that affect the premiums? So again, it's one of those scenarios that what's going to happen is whoever the individual is that you're working with will review the policy with you each and every year, make sure it's on track to do what it's supposed to do, because obviously outside interest rates will affect the cash value. Same thing with market investments and all the rest of it. So if you're falling a little bit behind, we need to say, hey, what do we need to do to catch up? Or if we're way ahead, hey, maybe we can have some other benefits here that we didn't realize we had before. Maybe it means we can reduce premiums or just build more cash value or what have you.
Let's say we've got a life insurance policy that we've had since, say, the year 2000 or 2005 or even 2010. Newer policies might be better, but we don't really know until they sit down and talk with you about it, right?
Absolutely. What we do is we run what's called an in-force illustration on your current policy. So when I say in-force, we actually order it from the insurance company, and then they will tell us all the information we need to know about that policy right now and its current standings. What cash value you have in there, what the premium cost is, what interest rate it's been earning or on track to earn. That way we can see, hey, is there anything we can do to enhance this particular policy? And if it makes sense to keep it, move it somewhere else. Again, you talked about long-term care. Maybe you're in a situation where, hey, you know what? I needed life insurance earlier on, but now my situation has shifted and I need to focus it more towards long-term care. Maybe it means moving that cash value to more a long-term care policy. So there's different options that we do have, and we can get this reviewed.
So that's one of the deals. When it comes to life insurance, a lot of us think, well, that was just when we were in our 30s and we had a family. We wanted to make sure if something happened to us, they'd be fine. Does it have a role in retirement? Maybe, but also maybe not, right? That's really the nice thing about sitting down with a team like Safeguard Investment Advisory Group and Rick Rivera. It is about you, and they can help you in the market world. They can help you in the insurance world. What tools do you need? What tools would make your retirement better, right? It would be great to not have stress in retirement because we're worried about this or worried about that. If we put something in place to take care of some of those worries, great. But is it right for you? Rick doesn't know. That's why we always give you the opportunity to sit down with him and talk to him about your situation, the questions, concerns you have. Is my portfolio set up the right way? Do I have the right amount of life insurance? I don't even know. What about, this? I like this idea of some tax-free monies in retirement, and especially to leave it to my heirs, leave tax-free money. That sounds great. But is it right? Rick doesn't know until you talk with him. 800-700-1980 is the number. 800-700-1980. No cost, no obligation, no pressure. Call the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group and Rick Rivera. You can do it right now. It's totally complimentary. 800-700-1980. Back with our next segment of the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group right after this.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
We hear that every year, right? New Year's Eve to January 1st, the countdown as the calendar changes. We're actually, on the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, going to have a little fun in our final segment. We're going to go back to the year 2000. So, Rick, you have been in the financial world now for a little over 20 years. You think back to 2000, were you early in your career? Were you not ready to start quite yet? Where were you in 2000?
I was already in the career. I was already in the industry, but still a little bit green and definitely learning. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So we can all think back, I think, to 2000, the year 2000, right? That's the Y2K survivors, right? Remember when the computers rolled to the new millennium, the world's ending, right? Well, nothing happened,
I
right?
remember that for sure.
Yeah. We had the hanging Chad. That was Bush Gore back in the day. It became the word of the year, the hanging Chad. It was the first episode ever of Survivor. Blockbuster hits like Gladiator. Aaron Brockovich. Julia Roberts was fantastic in that show, Aaron Brockovich. Yeah. You think about some of the financial figures, though, from Rick in 2000. My guess is they're much different in 2023. You're going to buy that, aren't you?
No, absolutely. It's a lot different. And you're just thinking, 20, 23 years later, back in 2000, roughly median home prices were around 119, 120,000. Today, median home prices nationwide are well over 300,000. In California, it's over 700,000 median home price. You think about the Dow. Back then in 2000, it was just under 11,000, so about 10.7. Today, as of this show, it's over 34,000. Gas prices. I mean, all these different things definitely have changed and have risen, doubled, some cases tripled in price. Stamps, not that we'll probably be using stamps 20 years from now, but all these different things. So people are living, and I always say it in my workshop, anybody that's retiring at 65, statistically, they have a 75% chance of going to at least age 88. So people are living 20, in some cases 30 years into retirement. So, these numbers are realistic, and this is what you can see in retirement. And if you don't plan for it, you can really get behind the 8 ball.
And that's really the importance of having your very own big picture blueprint. It gives you direction, gives you clarity on your road to retirement, income, investment, taxes, healthcare, long-term care, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare decisions. There's a lot going on. The average rate in 2000 of a 30-year fixed mortgage was 8.05%. Well, we thought, that was, if we were talking 5 years ago, you'd be like, holy cow, is that crazy high? But if you went back to the 80s, that would be really low. So we're getting back to that point now, it seems, with the interest rates. So the dot-com bubble really started bursting in 2000. The end of the 90s, the markets were really good in the 90s. And then 2000 is the lost decade. And I guess the dot-com bubble burst is what kind of started us on that wrong trail. We had the Great Recession, 07 to 09. We had 9/11, obviously, in there as well. Did we learn any lessons from the dot-com bubble bursting?
Number one, well, let me just say something really quick. When you say, have we learned any lessons? All I can tell you is this. History repeats itself over and over again, because I remember specifically when the Dow was at 5,000 and people were saying, oh my God, there's a bubble, it's going to burst. Then was at 10,000. Oh my God, there's a bubble, it's going to burst. When it was at 12,000, 15,000, 20, we're in the 30,000s. So the scenario here is this, we know the markets go up and down consistently. There's always going to be cycles, no matter what. Same thing with real estate, same thing with all industries. But how do we mitigate it affecting us in retirement? We mitigate it by having a strategy, making sure that we have a plan in place, making sure that we are diversified in such a way that our income is set up to last the rest of our life. And that if we're investing in let's say a dot-com situation, well, obviously as a retiree, we're not going to have all our money in that one basket, and this
Which
is
now would be like Bitcoin, probably.
Right, exactly. So we got to have a strategy and understand, hey, listen, I'm not saying people listening to the show right now should run away from risk. What I am saying is that we should evaluate the risk that we're taking and make sure that it's enhancing what we're doing and not putting us in a position where we can get hurt. And that's the big thing. And that's where a true plan comes into place. But, unfortunately, too many people are out there just, chasing returns or just looking at, statistics on certain industries. There's more to it than that.
Yeah, so if you sit down with Rick and the team, and again, it's 800-700-1980, and he does say if you come in and chat with him, he's pretty much going to guarantee you that he will give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you're currently doing. Well, there's no cost for this. That's a great opportunity for you to find out a couple things you could do better, no cost to you. 800-700-1980, 800-700-1980. But you think about that. The average home value back in 2000, about $120,000. In California now, obviously, it's over $700,000, but worldwide or United States wide, it's about a little over $300,000. So everything's about tripled almost. The stamp, 33 cents. Now it's going to be 66 cents later on this year. So there's a lot of moving parts here. It's really about you. What do you need to be in a better position? Final thing. Here you go, Rick. Year 2000. Estimated 51 million viewers watched the first season finale of the CBS reality show Survivor. Do you watch Survivor? I've never watched Survivor.
I think I've seen it once or twice before,
Yeah.
but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I see the commercials and I've watched parts, but
Yeah.
But anyway, so that first Survivor in the year 2000, Richard Hatch, the first winner, he won $1 million prize package back in 2000, $1 million. But he was later found guilty of tax evasion, didn't pay his taxes on his prize money, sentenced to 51 months in prison, and the whole thing prompted Jeff Probst, the host of Survivor, to advise later contestants.
I have one piece of advice. Pay your taxes.
Thanks to their first owner, or first winner, not paying their taxes. 51 months in prison. Crazy. So taxes are a big deal right now. There's a lot of moving parts here. Rick, I enjoyed it as always. Well, I'll let you give the number out. Tell people you're here to help them.
Yeah, you know what? Once again, like you said, Mark, I've been doing this long enough. If you come in, I guarantee I've been doing this long enough, I'll give you 2 ideas that'll enhance whatever it is that you're doing. All I need is about 45 minutes of an hour, the most of your time. Number is 800-700-1980. Again, our toll-free number is 800-700-1980.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.